people get discouraged about the system a lot. A lot of people think, another reason why this is called the political solution tonight is because you hear quite often there is no political solution because of all the disappointment and disenfranchisement that people feel after an election doesn't go their way, or after maybe a politician they put their hope in, goes the other way they thought they were going to go or said they were going to go. And when we get onto even the way elections are held, the integrity of elections is in question. And so this is something I wanted to talk about with you a little bit, because tomorrow, in fact, you are going to be going into Elections Alberta for certain reasons, and there's going to be a protest outside of Elections Alberta as well. Can you elaborate why you're going there and what the purpose of this protest is?
Yeah, so this is very important, and I'd like to add, kind of Take Back Alberta began as a grassroots movement because of the corruption of Jason Kenney over the mandates and the vaccines, and basically a large group of people being pushed out of society, ostracized, all that kind of stuff. But the third thing that Take Back Alberta was founded on, and I've been saying this all over the province over and over again, was this. We have to have integrity around our elections. We got to get rid of electronic voting. Now, people claim that the reason we have to get rid of electronic voting is because of cheating. Now, I believe that there has been cheating through electronic voting, but that's actually not the biggest reason that we need to get rid of it. It's because people can't trust electronic voting. You can trust to a high degree if you're looking at ballots on a table and you're watching them be counted. You can trust that outcome. Not fully, there's still people who could stuff ballots, and there's all kinds of stuff, but it's a lot easier to trust that than a print off from a machine. And I think that our democracy is sacred. And why I think it's sacred is because it's the only method we've ever found as humans to keep tyranny in check. And it's also brought about the most human flourishing in human history. So we need to protect that. And not only do we need to protect it, we need to protect people's faith in it. And a lot of people, particularly because of what happened in the States, have lost their faith in the voting system. So the third pillar of Take Back Alberta is no more electronic voting anywhere in this province ever again. And recently, the premier in Bonnyville at a fundraiser announced that she was getting rid of electronic tabulators across the province. That's a huge win. I consider it one of my greatest political victories. Of course, I'm not the only one who played a role in it, but I have been advocating for it for years. And I think she's going to do it. She said she's going to do it. So that's going to give us a chance to have a fair democracy. Now, we're still going to need people showing up at every single polling booth, volunteering to watch the vote, to make sure that nobody's stuffing ballots, to make sure it's fair. We still have to be very vigilant citizens, but it's a lot easier to be vigilant over paper ballots than it is over electronic voting. Recently, Taiwan just had an election. Every single voter had to show voter ID and proof that they were supposed to be voting at that station. And all of the ballots were counted paper ballots with cameras on the ballots that anybody in the whole country could watch. And that's how they're stopping the Chinese Communist Party from taking over their society. I don't see why Taiwan, which is a country with a similar GDP and a similar population to Canada, why, if they can do it, Alberta can't. I think Alberta absolutely can, and I think we will, and that's important. Now, in terms of why we're having a protest outside of Elections Alberta tomorrow and why I've been subpoenaed there, Elections Alberta, most of the people in power there have been appointed by the NDP. And that means that even though 50, and I'm aware of it's probably a lot more, but I'm aware of 50 complaints, including from the executive director of the United Conservative Party, people have filed complaints saying, hey, the unions are breaking the law and they're colluding with the NDP. In fact, a head union guy was married to the leader of the NDP and was running a PAC or involved in a PAC, and they're saying there's no collusion? Like, this is ridiculous. However, there have been complaints about Take Back Alberta. There's been claims that my meetings are election advertising. And so Elections Alberta is investigating Take Back Alberta, and they are trying to, I don't even know. They haven't even told me what they're accusing me of. There's a whole list of crazy accusations, like I'm colluding with the United Conservative Party. I don't know if anyone noticed, but the previous premier said that I was a lunatic. The current premier has said that I need to seek mental help, and the former president of the party literally was at war with me, and I was at war with her. I'm not colluding with the party. If anything, I'm pretty sure most of the higher ups, the mucks of the party, would love to see me disappear. So it's a ridiculous claim. There's also been claims that I'm enriching myself. I can tell you I have impoverished myself trying to teach Albertans how their democracy works. I have gone in substantial debt in order to do that, which I can prove to anyone who is interested. But none of that matters to Elections Alberta. What matters to them is their partisan attacks on. They should be thrilled that I'm running around the province on my own dime, trying to teach people to be more involved in their democracy. That should be the purpose of Elections Alberta, to get more people involved in democracy. But instead, they're more interested in their partisan aims. And I know that on paper they're supposed to be nonpartisan, but the fact that they're investigating Take Back Alberta, they've investigated a lot of conservative people over the years, and they're not investigating the unions, and they're not investigating these left-wing activist groups. It's just evidence that our bureaucracy has been captured by, I call them a small fringe minority with unacceptable views. But
correct me if I'm wrong, is not Gil McGowan running for leadership of the NDP in Alberta right now?
He's running for the leadership of the NDP while still being the president of the Alberta Federation of Labor and using the list from the Alberta Federation of Labor to campaign. So, I mean, that's about as big of a violation of the Elections Act, as far as I can tell, that you can do. And we've even sent complaints to Elections Alberta about that, and basically been told he can do whatever he wants. So apparently he can do whatever he wants, but me going around to town halls and literally, I mean, you've been to some of my meetings, just telling my story, saying how I got involved in politics, the impact I was able to have, and how other people can do that. Like, the media has said that I am grandiose, and I like to, like, pump myself up, that I'm a narcissist. But the reason I was telling my story wasn't because I want everybody to know who I am. The reason I was telling my story was to say a homeschooler from Haines with no political connections at all went from 14-year-old showing up at his first political meeting to working for the Prime Minister of Canada. That happened because there's nobody else doing anything. People don't show up. There's so few people that show up that I didn't have any competition, really. And now I've put in so many hours and have so much experience that people are like, oh, how is he doing this? He must be cheating or trying to destroy democracy. No, I got a lot of experience and I know what I'm doing. That's all it is. And anybody can do that. And there's a lot of people in Alberta doing that right now. And they're finding that out, that getting involved can make a difference.
It reminded me of a story from when I was in high school. I was big time into track and field. I loved the track sports more than the field sports. And in high school, I competed in the 300-meter hurdles, which is really tough. And I made it to whatever the regionals were. And I like to tell people I came in fourth in my entire school, but there's only 4 people that competed. So like basically if I didn't compete, they wouldn't have a team. So, just by virtue of me showing up, I got on the team and went to the competition. Right. So if there's an empty spot, you could just walk into it and the spot is yours because there's no competition.
Okay. Here's a great example. School boards in this province. 25% of the people on school boards right now are on the school board because nobody ran against them. 25%. 1 in 4. Literally all they had to do was show up. So that's how apathetic and anemic our democracy is right now.
There was I've told the story in a couple of episodes about a friend that ran here in a by-election up here for a school board trustee position and lost the election. there were two other people running. The person that won got like 39 votes. She got 32 votes. And then the third person got like 7 votes. So like there's not a lot of people voting in an election. So A, there's not a lot of people running, and B, there's not a lot of people voting. So if you can change those things, you can change the face of the entire province.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that is what they're terrified of. They're not scared of David Park. They're not. All that they're scared of organized, and that is terrifying. And to a point that you made earlier about franchise and saying that there's no political solution. Well, the left doesn't believe that. They've